Hello and welcome to your messages for the week. Today is Sunday, the 13th of March, 2022. If you haven't already seen the messages for the month of March, I suggest you have a look at them because they're super relevant still. And you can find the link in the description, and I will put the video in the end screen because it was all about your contribution to world peace. That basically you contribute to world peace when you can find and create the peace within you. That's how we create heaven on earth. And so that was really important. And there was another video from a couple from the end of February about the conflict being within. This is an ongoing, this is all part of the work that we're doing, the inner work. So these messages are not just for the week that they're read, they're ongoing. And we are constantly needing to acknowledge and observe the conflict, the judgment. That's the big one. And I want to say jumping to conclusions and jumping to assumptions. I don't believe everything you read, don't believe everything you hear, but most importantly, don't believe everything you think. You know, our thoughts change as we expand into higher levels of consciousness. So if your thoughts aren't changing, you're not expanding, are you? So actually we need to admit that our thoughts change. We need to actually embrace the change in our thoughts because it shows some kind of growth. I haven't pulled the cards yet, but I want to share I want to share the screen with you already. Let me just share this one, which there you go. Now, most of you will know this as it's part of Dr. David Hawkins' scale of consciousness, map of consciousness. This is like the scale, just the emotional side of it, and the frequency. The actual map of consciousness is much larger and is one of the things that I do go through and share in my online courses, group courses and one-to-one courses. But however, this shows us the kind of like the process that we're all going through, the ascension process that we're all going through as we raise our frequency, because it does all depend on our frequency. Everything depends on our frequency. Our future lies in our frequency. We know that. But as we move up this frequency chart, life gets better and better and better. And you can see that if you are below 200 on this chart, you're in a contracted state of being, which is not going to create heaven on earth. Now, if you're watching this video, which you are, then there's a high chance that you're above 250 on this chart. And you can see that that's the point that we become expanded. And you can see willingness at 310, which I've got a video in Lessons in Awakening about the power and importance of willingness. I also have a blog on it as well, so I'll put those links in the description, and I'll put the video in the end screen because it's powerful, because it basically catapults you into these higher levels of consciousness. It catapults you into these higher states of being, and it's your doorway, it's your key to the acceptance and love and joy and peace. So the willingness, and one of the things about willingness, of course, it says willingness to get out of denial, willingness to be wrong, willingness to grow, willingness to hold your hands up, willingness to all sorts of things, be vulnerable. You know, there's a willingness to all sorts of things, willingness to go through this inner work, to face those demons and to face the negative emotions and to feel into them, not to avoid them. Okay, this is how we're going to cleanse, is by feeling into those emotions. And it's not as bad or as negative as it sounds. It's not as difficult as it sounds, because once you set the intention and you just open your heart to feeling, open your heart. That's just reminded me of a video I did some time ago, actually. I'll put a link into that as well. It's a yoga exercise, a 5-minute yoga exercise, but it's to open the heart, and it's for beginners, absolute beginners. It's like a progressive thing. I'll put a link in because opening the heart has been coming up a lot. Because as I was going to say, see, when you open your heart and you express that willingness, and you are feeling into the emotions that you need to observe, that you need to feel, they dissipate. They get transmuted by that open heart and by that level of consciousness that you're putting on them. You know, as soon as you put your consciousness on them, they do actually leave. They get transmuted. Some obviously take longer than others. We've got some emotions that we can just observe and they literally transmute there and then. And then there's other inner work, I want to call it, inner work, that does take a lot longer, which is why, you know, it's a really good idea to explore energy healing, sound healing, you know, hypnotherapy, past life regression, all these wonderful things, soul healing, in whatever form, you know, not just the ones I offer, from anyone that's offering these things, because they are a key to the deeper level. And I do tend to find that, you know, we start off with the trapped emotions and limiting beliefs that are creating our biggest issues in this lifetime. That tends to be the first step. But then once we've cleared those away and we're feeling a little bit more clarity around our path, that's when we tend to get into inherited stuff, inherited trapped emotions, programming and stuff like that, ancestral baggage, I want to call it, and all sorts of other things. And then it goes into a deeper level whereby birth charts are really handy to have a look at, and to see what you actually came here to do and experience. And a lot of us came here obviously to experience and express those our true character, our true soul's nature, but also evolved souls, which you probably are, choose quite difficult paths. And they do that on purpose because they know that they have the consciousness to be able to deal with it all. And that's all part of the game. So they do tend to create the most adversity for themselves. They do tend to create the most challenging lives, you know, so that they can learn, because they know that we grow and expand through adversity, and that we grow and expand through grief and difficulties and challenges and stuff. So evolved souls do tend to create difficult paths for themselves. And very often they have come to clear out ancestral stuff, especially now, 2022, where we are cleansing the consciousness level, or we are raising the consciousness level, and we're kind of cleansing, I want to say, that density that humanity has got itself stuck into. A lot of the souls that have incarnated for this time, and most souls just wanted to be here at this time because it's such an amazing, spectacular time to be alive. You know, a lot of them have come here with these healing purposes. So what I'm getting at is that the journey of the inner work, it really is the same thing as ascension, you know, ascension symptoms, and it's the same thing as the progression of evolving and growing. It's kind of like ongoing, basically, until you get to the top of this chart that I'm showing you now. When you get to the top of this chart, then that enlightenment, you probably won't come back again. But the important point, and this did come up before, but I really wanted to make it clearer. The important point is, as you raise your frequency, you actually can help more people that are vibrating below that level of 200 in a contracted state. It's like counterbalancing it, you know. So an individual, this is from Dr. David Hawkins' Power versus Force, okay, his statistics, which he wrote, I think, in 94. So, you know, it's already some years ago, but he said that one individual vibrating at 300 counterbalances 90,000 individuals that are vibrating below 200. So just by being willing and open, okay, willing, I'm coming back to it, open, heart open, okay, setting your intention, willing and open to serve and to raise your own frequency and to find joy and peace and harmony, you are already counterbalancing 90,000 people that are in a contracted state. So I was going to say when you're watching media, but I would advise you not to watch media, but even social media, shall we say. And if you're seeing all these people in a contracted state and you want to help them, start by helping yourself, because if you can get yourself to that place of acceptance and reason, because look, reason is 400. One individual at level 400, and I am reading these to make sure that I've got the statistics correct, that counterbalances 400,000 people. So if you're seeing trauma out in the collective and conflict out in the collective, and you really want to do something to help people, then focus on your own frequency, because 400,000 individuals can actually be counterbalanced in the collective, as far as raising the consciousness level of the collective. So you can actually, because we are all one, right? So you can actually raise their consciousness level by raising your own. Now, that's difficult to get your head around, but that's actually quantum physics. Not that I'm going to explain all of that. But if you get to 500, which is love or above, right? If you get to 500, and you'll know when you hit the frequency of love, because that's when you just look at everything around you and basically feel love for it. And you can feel, this is, we were saying this in a couple of weeks ago, I think, or maybe even last week, seeing the divinity in everything and everyone. That's love. Okay, so one individual at level 500 counterbalances 750,000 people. This is how you can help people. We live in a quantum universe. There is only you. By raising your frequency, you're raising the collective. You don't have to physically, I mean, I'm not saying don't physically. I mean, if there's charities that you trust and there's action, physical action in the physical world that is, available to you, and you're inspired and excited to do it, then obviously that's your path, so go and fill your boots with it. And that's how you're serving. But for a lot of people who are wanting to help, but not knowing how, this is how you do it, by raising your own. If you get to peace here at 600, you actually counterbalance 10 million individuals that are in a contracted state of being. That is a small country. It is so powerful. And this links in with the March's messages, the messages for March, because this is, if you can find that peace within you, that's your contribution to peace in the collective. And that's how we create world peace. We literally do create it by creating it within us. And what I was saying before about your thoughts changing, don't believe everything you think. So if you're down at the bottom of this chart, which you won't be if you're watching this, but let's talk about it anyway. People tend to think, people full of shame and guilt, these are the lowest frequency emotions. People tend to think that life happens to you, that you're a victim of your circumstances. There's that energy of dog eat dog and survival of the fittest, and attack is the best form of defense, and all those kind of energies. And that, life's a battle and all of this. Whereas when you get further up this chart, when you get to that fear and that desire, you start believing that life happens by you. That it happens by you. You're actually, active in it. But it's not until you get to, like the green section, the heart section, I want to say, the heart chakra part, when you get to this tipping point, the 250 and 310, this heart chakra area, that you realize that life happens for you. It's happening for your benefit. I mean, you are actually the creator, but you don't realize it usually when you're at that level of consciousness. But you're creating your life for your own benefit, of course, for your own ascension journey. So life's happening for you, and you see the benefit in everything. This is when you have, every cloud has a silver lining, and all of this is where gratitude comes in. When you get further up here and you see, reason and love, you realize that actually life happens through you. It's not just happening for your benefit, but actually life is happening through you. And that's when we say, get out of your own way. Esther Hicks is always saying, through Abraham, get out of your own way, because it's the trapped emotions and the programmed mind of the fourth dimension that normally holds us back. If you can let go of all of that and just be an open channel to source, then life happens through you, which is why people's best ideas come when they're distracted, or their best ideas come when they're doing what they love, when they're being creative. And we talk about ideas coming out of the blue. Where are they coming from? That's because you've got your body in a state of relaxation, and you're letting that universal guidance come down through you, using yourself as some kind of vessel, some kind of conduit for the energy. And life just happens through you. And that's when you take action and it doesn't feel difficult. You find it really easy. Nothing's difficult, nothing's a struggle. That's when you realize that some decisions in life are just choiceless. You don't even have to think about them, you just do them. And they're effortless. The things that you're meant to be doing in life are effortless. And they're joy-filled, I want to say. And then when you get to the very top of this chart, you realize that you are life. you are life itself. You are creation, and all those, that power behind all of creation. So that's a really important point, to remember that by raising our own frequency, we are actually raising the frequency of the collective. I wanted to share that with you and put a few statistics, because I'm always talking about that, but I wanted to actually show it to you, so that you could actually see the relevance of it. I'm just going to stop that there. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you're new to the concept of raising your frequency and your vibrations, then I do suggest my first book, Heal Yourself to Happiness, which is free to download from my website. And I'll put a link in the description to that, because it really is a simple guide. That's what the subtitle is, a simple guide to raising your vibration and achieving the health, love, and prosperity you desire, or something like that. I can't really remember it. But there's plenty of information on my YouTube channel about my first book. There's a video and a section on my books. But if you were to follow everything in that book, it's like a step-by-step, because there's so many different ways that we can raise our frequency. There's no, many roads lead to Rome, or whatever the expression is. So you'll find something that resonates with you. But it is important to start really understanding the importance of raising our frequency, because that is where our future lies, and that is where the future of humanity lies. And you wouldn't be watching this video if you didn't want to serve humanity in some way. So I hope that's helped. I haven't pulled the cards today. Maybe I'll do a card reading later, I'm not sure, but for some reason I'm not feeling it today. So that's an interesting point, isn't it? But I did feel to share with you the importance of raising your frequency, doing what you love. You are serving humanity. That's exactly how you do it. It's not spiritual woo-woo, it's quantum physics, but we don't need to go into the details of that. We just need to understand that by raising our frequency, we're creating our reality. So try it and see. Let me know how you get on in the comments. And I am sending you so much love and so many blessings. Bye for now.